Cantor, Lipp.
Feel free to sing along. For Jewish people, that's one of the kind of oldest technologies for getting people to sing along, even if they're illiterate. Not suggesting anyone here is, but I'm suggesting that many people who might be listening aren't necessarily literate in Hebrew, which is what most of the music in the Jewish tradition comes from. Of course, there's Yiddish, there's Ladino, there's all sorts of different languages that we've played with and sung with. But the wordless nigun, the wordless melody, is one that you can sing, doesn't matter where you're from. As long as you can say lie, la, lie, and follow a tune. Even if you can't, it's okay. Do the best you can. Singing is good for the soul. So I'll do some of this again. One more time. The technique of using the wordless nigun is one that received a huge boost about 300 years ago with the Hasidic movement, with the movement of what at the time was an incredibly revolutionary renewal of Jewish feeling, a reconnection to nature, a reconnection to issues of the soul and the and feeling from what had been, for some, at least according to those critics of it, a more kind of head religion, a religion which gloried in an analysis of Talmud. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm probably more of a head Jew than a heart Jew, I have to be honest. I love study. I love getting into a text and playing with it 1,000 ways. But there are times after you do that where you have to take a deep breath and you have to sing, because the truth of the matter is that the smartest people in the world need to take a break from the hard work. They need to take a walk in nature in order for all of those difficult thoughts to coalesce in a way that no one could have imagined. True creativity requires both. And those of us who are either head or heart need to sometimes remind ourselves to challenge those parts of ourselves that are not often activated. And so for me, believe it or not, even though I'm a musician, for me, I need to work on activating this part sometimes more than this part. We obviously need to activate both in lots of different ways. So I simply offer that to all of us as an opportunity for self-reflection in terms of those areas where we need to balance ourselves and to create more good synergy between those parts, those physical parts of ourselves, those mental parts of ourselves, those feeling gut parts of ourselves that need to come together. So one of the most famous of the Hasidic thinkers and mystics was Reb Nachman of Bratslav. And he had a very famous saying, and I'll say it in English first, then I'm going to sing a couple of different versions of it because I think they're both very powerful. What he said was, Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar ma'od. The entire world is just a narrow bridge. And the most important thing is not to be afraid. The principle of the thing, ha'ikar, lo lefached klal. Don't be afraid. Cross that bridge. Hold on to the railings, okay? If you're walking with someone, use their help if you can. But the most important thing is to cross that bridge with all the power and with all the confidence, even though it can be scary. We need to cross that bridge, both in some ways existentially by ourselves, but to the extent that we can and must interdependently with one another. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od. That was by Chana Senesh. The music, that is. The text is still by Reb Nachman of Bratslav. A more recent setting of this is one that I find very compelling. It's by Yosef Goldman. He's a rabbi. Also has a degree in sacred music. This piece is also, I think, quite compelling. Has a much more complicated harmonic sense about it and progression, but I think also captures the meaning of the word in a different way than Chana Senesh's more well-known version does. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam gesher tzar, kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam gesher tzar me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam gesher tzar, kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam gesher. Feel free to sing along. Kol ha'olam goes like this. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam gesher tzar, kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam gesher. V'ha'ikar lo lefached klal, לא לפחד כלל, לא לפחד. העיקר, העיקר לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל, לפחד. As I walk along this very narrow bridge, I will not be afraid, knowing you are with me. As I walk along this very narrow bridge, I will not fear, knowing you are near. Ha'ikar, 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 la lefachid la, lefached, ha'ikar, ha'ikar, la lefachid la, lefached, lo lefached klal. So many challenges during these times, and the more we can face what they are and who we are in the midst of those challenges, the more we can confront those challenges, and the more we can find aspects of ourselves that perhaps we weren't aware we had to confront challenges no one could have expected. And so at this time, I wanted to do a prayer of healing for those who are ill, for those who are hopefully recovering. Put our voices and hearts and souls into the universe, to God's consciousness, to be part of the psychic energy that hopefully can tip the scales towards more healing and less illness. Avotenu kor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. Let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mikol habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say Amen. So back in the early 70s, some of us were alive back then. I was pretty young, but I was alive back then. There were many Israeli popular songs that express the need and desire to make the world a better place. This particular song by Arik Einstein and Mickey Gavrielov has actually found its way into the Reform Prayer Book, into the new Reform Prayer Book. It's one that I've always loved. I remember it as a child. At least part of my childhood was growing up in Israel, and I remember hearing it on the radio there when it was new, when people hadn't been hearing it for years and hadn't been singing it as almost a folk song. I'm sure there's some people aren't sure that anybody actually wrote it, but actually was written. Of course, even those things that we consider anonymous were written by somebody, we just don't remember who they are. It's called a Niviat. I'll sing it in Hebrew and English so to get a sense of it. Ani אתה, אז יבואו כבר כולם. אמרו את זה קודם לפניי, לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. Yes, you and I will change the world yet by and by. Yes, you and they'll join us if we try. I know it's been said already, but the truth abides. Yes, you and I change the world yet by and by. Yes, you and I will start all over, reach the sky. We'll have to work hard, but rewards come when we try. I know it's been said already, but the truth abides. Yes, you and I will change the world yet by and by. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה, אז יבואו כבר כולם. אמרו את זה קודם לפניי, לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה ננסה מההתחלה. יהיה לנו רע, אין דבר וזה לא נורא. אמרו את זה קודם לפניי, זה לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. Yes, you and I change the world yet by and by. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. So there's a song that I think really is a folk song, Jewishly anyway. It comes from the Psalms, and it's one that most Jewish people know by heart. And if you don't feel bad. I'll sing it a few times. You can, and if this weren't Zoom and we could actually sing together, it actually works as a round, where you can sing both parts at the same time. Means how wonderful it is for people to sit together. That's both an aspiration for actual physically sitting together in ways that we can't right now, and an acknowledgement that even though sitting together on Zoom and virtually is not the same as being together, we need to still do that. We need to do the best we can to be as together as we can under these abnormal and unusual circumstances. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד, גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד, גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד, גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד, גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים, שבת אחים גם יחד, גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, שבט אחים. שבט אחים, גם יחד. גם יחד. הנה מה טוב. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. ומה נעים, שבט אחים. שבט אחים יחד, גם יחד. I lied one more time. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבט אחים גם יחד. As I often like to end with Bob Dylan, who, God bless his soul, is still coming out with new albums. Almost one a year, and the man is in his 70s. It's like we should all be so vital in our 70s and 80s and, God willing, 90s. We're creating new stuff. And I'm not saying I don't like his new stuff. I have to be honest, I haven't listened to most of it yet. I'm amazed he's still doing stuff. And you have young people saying it's some of the best stuff he's ever done, so I'll have to catch up. I haven't yet, I must admit, but I need to catch up. But I'm still stuck in the 60s. Scientists say, it's like I could put on the white lab coat. And what I've read is that scientists say that whatever you loved when you were 19, you will love forever. Doesn't mean you won't learn to love other things, but there will be a part of you that will always want to hear whatever you loved when you were 19. For me, that's Carole King and James Taylor and the Beatles and Bob Dylan from that period in particular. Not that I haven't ventured to Paul Simon and Garfunkel. Oh my goodness, even when the Beatles went off to be on their own, Paul McCartney and John Lennon, God rest his soul, died so far, far too young. So in any case, back to Bob Dylan from the 60s. A prayer that I still believe, whether he did it intentionally or not, he was affected by the priestly blessing, that threefold short blessing you've all heard at weddings, for us at bar mitzvahs, at brises, baby namings, what have you. The first line gives it away, forever young. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others, let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars, climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth. See the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous. Stand upright and be strong. May you stay ever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay ever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. Ooh. May you stay forever young. Have a great morning.
Thank you so much, Cantor Lipp. We are so grateful to be back on and to get to have you help us start our day. Some of the feedback that we've been receiving on our Zoom chat and Facebook Live is just what a wonderful, meaningful way to start our day and how much you've been missed. So thank you so much. And today is a musical day with Interfaith Paths to Peace. We are going to be welcoming for Soul Food. Which is our new Tuesday programs, which helps nourish the soul, featuring artists and musicians and chefs. Today we are going to be featuring Ben Sully. So I know I'm excited too. He's one of my favorite artists of all times. So hope to see you all at 3 p.m. here so that we can get to listen to him and hear a little bit about his spirituality and creativity process and some of his reflections on how to bring peace to our world. So hope to see you all there. Tomorrow morning we will start our day with yoga. So hope to see you all, and with the help of God, we will welcome Cantor Lipp again next week. Have a blessed day, have a day filled with peace. Remember to stay forever young and to always find wonder in all things. Thank you, everyone.